Hello, beautiful friends, and welcome to another edition of the Biohacked Life podcast. Oh, are you in for a treat today? In the studio, we've got Jessica Hebert. Jessica, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic.
We're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna help pull out some of her inspirational story, guys. Look, I'm not gonna lie, I need a little bit of motivation right now. Like I've had a couple days where I'm just like, ugh, killing me. So I'm excited to pull this out of her to give me some motivation that hopefully we can help you guys with. But first of all, guys, I want to thank our sponsor, Neo Life Physical Therapy in D'Iberville. I actually just left there right before I came here. Guys, what they're doing in there is absolutely amazing. The holistic approach they're taking to wellness is awesome. So check those guys out. All right, let's get into it. A couple questions to get started, Jess. What is something today that you're gracious for?
My life.
Why your life?
Because, well, here we go. I guess this is part of what my story is.
Why are you great? Why are you full of gratitude today for your life?
Well, about 6 years ago, I was in a horrible car accident. I walked out of this car that was unrecognizable. And after that is when my movement started. So I wake up every day and I start my day with some praise music. I make my spirit feel good. I keep it in a peaceful place and life flows.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, here's the curveball question. If you had to have a walkout song for life, what would it be?
I practice my posing to this song all the time.
Okay, well, that's a song that makes you feel powerful.
It does. It's walk it like a talk it.
Doesn't surprise me at all. I think I've actually seen that on your Instagram story before.
Yep.
You doing something to that song.
Yep. It makes you feel good.
Nice. So yeah, guys, I want to dig into her story because what I've been following this and I've been watching it unravel and develop. Yeah, for a while now, and it's been incredible to see not only the changes she's making in her life, but the contagious factor that it has in everyone around her. So let's get into this. You got into a car wreck 6 years ago.
Yeah, roughly.
About 6 years ago. What's coming out of that? How long was your recovery period?
None. I walked out of this car, and for probably about a month before that, I had been thinking about the book of Revelations, and I had myself convinced that I wouldn't understand it if I opened it to read it. And so finally, after a month of thinking about that book, I came in from the gym one night and I asked my mom, I said, what do you know about the book of Revelations? Mm-hmm. And she said, I'm going to get you this book. It's called Revelations Unveiled.
Right.
Started reading it and made it about halfway through when I got in the car accident. I walked out of the car accident with a scratch on my wrist. That was it. The car was completely totaled. And after that, I knew that I was just grateful that my hands could work, my feet could work, I could see, breathe. I just felt like I needed to move. Mm-hmm. And so whether that means spiritually or physically, I just felt like I needed to start, and I started with fitness. So
it's almost like an acceleration point in your life.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. My spirit woke up.
Yeah. Why did you turn to fitness?
I think because I was so grateful that I walked out and had all mobility. If I could show you, I'll show you a picture actually of the car. Right where the damage stopped on the car was where the cabin of the car began. My feet, if I would have had the car that I had before, mm-hmm. the little BMW that I had, it would have ripped straight through to me. So I would either not have legs or I would just not be here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you started, so I guess because you're okay, I made it through this. I have fully functioning body.
Go run.
Yeah. just go do something and appreciate that fact.
Yeah.
So is that what you did? You started running?
Started just going to the gym. I had a friend that actually kind of introduced, I didn't know what to do. I had no idea. There was a lot of gym intimidation. I didn't know how to take the little thing on the machine and move it down, or I didn't know what.
You had to replace the pin?
Yeah, move. I didn't know how to isolate or do different things that a lot of people struggle with in the gym, so I had someone help me. And
who was helping you?
His name was Zach. What's his last name? Zach.
So it was just a friend?
Yeah, just a friend. I told him, he looked like he worked out, and I was like, I want to start working out. He said, you can come with me, and I was like, don't tell me that because I'll really show up. And so probably about 5 days a week. I had a little bit more, ammo underneath that too. I had gone through a bad relationship, wanted to make him sorry.
The revenge factor.
That was where it kind of started, yeah. And
okay, so you had like a revenge factor / car wreck.
Yeah.
Compounded.
Yeah.
And then throw Book of Revelation on top of that, which is a little scary in itself.
Yeah.
So you had like this trifecta of motivation.
Oh, yeah.
That spurred you into action.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I've actually interviewed people on my other podcast. That old saying of breakups make bodybuilders. It's so true.
I have literally, oh God, and this is not the pretty side of the story, built a fortress around my heart in the form of my body. But that might sound kind of like...
No, that's a very accurate statement that a lot of people do.
Yeah. And so, but it has made me value myself so much more because I know what I'm capable of. I definitely know what I have to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And so my eyes are wide open. I'm not married. And I just make sure that who I let in my life is going to either add to all the happiness that I have in my life, even on my own, or they're either going to take away, but I'm not going to allow someone to take away from me.
Absolutely not.
No.
So you started this, like, let's call it what it is. You probably went on like a self-discovery journey.
I did.
You see that a lot. Anytime someone goes through like a hardship and they're like spurred into action, they just start taking action, which is you getting into the gym and start working out, but they're really trying to figure out who they are again.
Yeah.
So when I, like, literally my like real bodybuilding journey, other than just like me losing all the weight, but when I started getting like more into bodybuilding, it was post breakup.
Yeah.
I had no clue who I was. I had no clue like anything other than I was trying to rebuild my confidence, and the way I rebuilt my confidence was by just showing up in the gym. I was crappy workouts, like it was terrible.
But you were there, like it just does something.
I just started showing up.
Yes.
And like what you probably realized was like you start getting this confidence back.
Right.
That I'm at least showing up. Okay, I can do a little more.
Yeah.
I can do a little more.
Until it starts beaming out of your skin, your pores, like, and it does. And so in my situation, I was hurt, and I wanted to hurt back, but in the same way, I didn't realize what I was actually doing for myself.
Yeah.
And so when surely enough, I saw that person like I knew that I would, probably about 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'd been in the gym about 5 days a week, every single week. He was sorry.
Absolutely.
And that was when I knew, like, okay, this works. Like, so since then, this is like a few years ago, gone through a breakup. And when people would ask me if I ever wanted to compete, I would be like, no, not my thing. Don't want to do it. Don't want the attention. I'll fall if that many people are looking at me. No.
Yeah.
But went through another breakup. And, at that point, I had gotten down to about the goal weight that I wanted. And I realized, like, where I had lost weight, I needed to gain muscle. Mm-hmm. And so the only next thing to do was to compete. And I won. And after I won, I was like, I got to do it again.
Yeah.
So when I did it again, I got second. That wasn't good enough. So I did it again. And then I got first. And so it just is spiraled. I love it. I feel like, I think I was telling you this, or someone in the gym the other day, almost when I am in prep, like I feel like God is so tangible to me. And it is a fast in the flesh in the highest form, I feel like, because you are submitting your mind, your body, and your spirit. It truly is all three. And so when you get past the mental aspect of committing and discipline, you go through a physical change that you see. And then the only way that I can describe to people that ask me how I did 6 competitions in the last year, is that not like 3 times as much as you've ever heard?
Yeah, that's a lot.
I would never do that again, but I don't know how I did that. The only way that I can explain it is it was spiritual.
The human body, like, we put limitations on it.
Yeah.
But it really is a lot more powerful.
Complex.
And complex. Like, you're saying 6 competitions in a year, and people ask you how. I listened to a guy named David Goggins who did, I think he did 8 straight centuries in running, 8 weekends in a row. Like 8 weekends in a row, he ran 100 miles
Oh my God.
in competition.
Yeah.
Like, that's just crazy. But like when you start thinking about it, like, okay, the human body really is crazy once we have a decided heart. Like once we decide we're going to do it and we make up our mind, like, you know what, come hell or high water, I'm going to do this.
Right.
The body's like, okay, bro, let's go.
I'm following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's an age-old saying too. Like the body will only go where the mind goes.
Right. I tell my mom all the time, I'm like, Mom, I'm really strong. And she's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, no, I'm like really strong. And she's like, I know. But it's more, I don't know. Like I said, it's like a spiritual thing for me, I think. And yes, of course, off season is good. But even in off season, you're still working hard.
Yeah.
You're still eating clean. You can still have some.
Cleanish.
Yeah. And so, but the cheats that I use them for power. So it's like
Right.
it all starts making sense. Like you just start understanding. But
So let me ask you this. You've been on this journey now for 6 years, really.
yeah.
This personal growth journey for 6 years. What's been the hardest thing you've had to go through in the last 6 years?
Oh, the hardest thing that I've had to go through. Well, you know what? I'm very fortunate to not have had to go through a bunch of loss.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest thing I think for me sometimes, and I think that I'm very positive in a lot of ways, but I have goals that I want and that I have actively been working on. And, you know, every day really is progress, but sometimes I get down on myself. I'm normal. I'm a human being. And so, you know, my house, for one, for 2 years, I've had the piece of property. I've been telling people they probably think I'm crazy by now. I'm going to build this house. But you know what? I think that it's more than just building my house. I'm building my house and I'm building a house. Like both of these, I think is eventually going to come, but that's been tough because I want it so bad. And it's like, why can't I get to it?
Patience.
Yeah. That's been my biggest lesson.
Lord grant me patience, but hurry.
Oh, geez. Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. Like,
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of us struggle with. I mentioned Neo-Life Physical Therapy. I've been going to those guys for 3 months now, and we're making a ton of progress. And my shoulder's starting to release a little bit. But I was Monday night, I went into the gym, and my shoulder's like in a bad position or something. It was just hurting.
Yeah.
Almost to the point where I was in tears.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I've been working on this thing for 3 months, and it's still hurting this bad.
Day by day by day.
Yeah.
Day.
But then I started thinking about like, okay, bro, you've had a chunk of bone missing out of your shoulder for 10 years.
Yeah.
And you've been forcing your way through it for 10 years. So it took you 10 years to get this bad. You're not going to fix it in 3 months.
That's right.
It takes just as long to walk out of the woods as it took to walk in.
That's right.
That patience thing, man, it's a tough one to learn. And I think with the patience, we put expectations out in the world, and that's really to the detriment of our potential. With expectations, this has to happen by this date, by this time, and I have to look like this, I have to get this done. And then, you know, this magical thing called life happens.
Yeah.
And it gets derailed, and the progress gets slower.
Yeah.
Like I'm that way with like my business stuff. I want to have this in business right now, like with you and, you know, what you do. You want like all these great things, you know, a huge salon and everything like this, but you're like, okay, one day at a time.
Yeah.
Let me just win the day.
I say that seriously on a daily basis, just day by day, day by day. Who knows? I might not be here long enough to get my house. And that's just the reality. You know, I think a lot of people don't think about that. Like there is life after this. And I you know, whether people want to hear it or not, like this is my platform. And that's what fitness has turned into for me. Like I think my gift that I was born with was hair. I knew when I was 8, you could have asked 8-year-old little Jessica, what do you want to do? And I would be like, I want to do hair. And so I did it. And now, you know, fitness was never, I was active as a kid. I did gymnastics when I was a kid, cheered and dance and stuff like that. But like doing what I'm doing now, this is completely like a God thing. It's a platform for me to stand on and glorify him in every single way. So it's not my body. It's borrowed. It's mine to manage. Yeah. And so that's what I'm doing. And I think that it just is carrying over in every single other part of my life. And
it is.
Yeah.
See, like from the outside looking in, like the person you are now versus the person you were a couple of years ago, it's like night and day difference.
For sure.
Like your energy is vibrating at such a higher level right now. Because like before, I would see you, and it was always great to see you, but like your energy was like a 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Now it's like every time I see you, it's a freaking 10.
Yes.
I'm like, this is awesome. I love being around this. And I think what that is we were talking before the show started. You're able to just be yourself now.
Yeah.
And you're not out there getting revenge.
That's right. Well, and I've done a lot of work on the inside out. And I think that is where a lot of that comes from. Like, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Like, it's really true.
It
like,
is true.
you know, when you feed your spirit, we are so complex. Like, it's more than just a skin body. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the flesh suit. You
have to feed your soul and your spirit good things. It's what you watch. It's what you listen to. It's what you read. I don't really read. I mean, I have tons of books, and this is going to sound like, oh, holy roly. I read my Bible. I read a lot. And so that gives me tons of wisdom. And I think that why I've had so many people lately telling me, like, my energy, they want to be around me and, like, complimenting me on that. And it feels so good to me. But I know, my dad told me this the other day. He said, you know, it's like you have something that nobody can really put their finger on. And he says God.
It is, absolutely is. So it's one of the principles like I got from a guy named Preston Smiles, and I've been teaching it to not just my clients, but every single person I ever come in contact with. I make sure they understand this. And the backstory is our whole lives, we're taught not to be selfish.
Yeah.
Our entire life, don't be selfish, don't be selfish. I mean, when you're a little kid and you have toys, don't be selfish. Share.
Yeah.
And we get into this mode of thinking selfish is a bad term.
Right.
But what you realized was
it can be used for so much good.
Oh my goodness. Like once you start like being selfish with your energy and with your diet of mental and spiritual diet, more than just your physical diet, once you become selfish with that, you're able to pour from an overflowing cup.
Yep.
And when you say you can't put your finger on it, I immediately recognize that.
Yeah.
I'm like, her cup is just overflowing right now.
Always.
And that's why she has this contagious energy. That's why people are like, oh my God, I want to soak this up.
I know.
Is because you spent so much time pouring into your own cup.
Yeah.
It has no choice but to spill over on everyone around you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's the truth. Like that's the reason why actually that's all right. We need a podcast. Like I need to get you on.
Thank you.
Because this energy, and what I love about it is because it's spilling on everyone around you, I see other people that you're inspiring.
Yeah. That is what's hard to wrap my mind around, is that people will reach out and tell me, you know, and I can see their life change, and they're telling me, like, I watched what you did this past year and my life is changing. And so, like, and then who watches them, and then their lives change, and
the ripple effect.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Actually, I was talking to my clients this morning, and we were talking about the book, The Traveler's Gift. Have you read it?
Yes. I don't think I finished it though.
Okay.
I need to reread.
You need to read that book. It's my like most gifted book ever. Like it's the book I give to the most people. Like, here, you need to go read
Kinda
this.
like The Alchemist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a book that I tell everyone to read. If you haven't read it, go read it. It's by Andy Andrews. But one of the chapters in the book is about like the ripple effect of decisions. Making one decision and then watching the ripple effect around you that most of the time when we go through life, we don't think about. We don't think about like, okay, I made one decision, say, hey, Jess, let's go podcast.
Yeah.
And then we do a podcast, put it out there, share it, boost it, whatever, and then watch what happens from it.
Right.
That's what most people go through life not thinking about. And what's crazy is every single person in this world has someone looking up to them. They have influence, whether they realize it or not.
Right.
People are watching you.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're broke Uncle Bob in the trailer out in the woods.
You're right.
People are watching you.
You're right.
You have influence. What are you doing with that influence?
Yeah.
Are you just complaining about, Trump or the news or whatever it is right now?
And I feel like I should be doing more. Honestly, just recently actually yesterday, I said something along the lines of like wanting to work with like youth, especially like teenage girls. Like, I love kids. Kids are drawn to me. I have a niece and a nephew. Love them with my whole everything that I have inside of me. But I know that there are teenage girls that struggle. I struggled hard. And you could ask my family. They watched.
Yeah.
And so it's hard trying to find yourself and trying to be true to yourself.
Oh my
and
goodness.
that is the most important thing. But these teenage girls, especially in the world that they're coming up in, where everything is sexualized and, you know, it's just not the same as what we grew up in. And so I have a lot of old core values that are instilled in me from my mom and my dad. And, you know, I wasn't always this way. It took a long time to get here. But if I could help them and give them direction, that would make me feel better.
I agree. So I had growing up the fat kid, I had all kind of insecurities and things that I dealt with growing up, even to the point where I almost ended things a couple times.
Yeah.
And that's just like how much pressure I felt to myself. So when I started my nonprofit Rise Up, that's exactly like I started out doing health and fitness in schools and realized very quickly that it was about mental health.
Yeah.
But now when I work in schools and I go talk to these teenagers, I'm like, oh my, like these problems you're having in 8th, 9th grade, I didn't see till like I was graduating.
Right.
It's getting younger and younger every year, and it's getting
the
more compounded.
Younger children like act like they're 16 years old.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that is the world that they're exposed to so much more. And gosh, I didn't get a phone until I was probably 16.
Yeah, I was driving. Like once I got a car, then I got a phone.
Right.
Just so my parents could track everything I did.
Right.
And call me every 5 minutes.
Right. I mean, but they're just exposed. Everything is, you know, their eyes aren't guarded. Their ears aren't guarded. That's when my kid's going to hate me.
Yeah. I'm just going to move to the side of a mountain somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the problem is so you form most of your identity before you're age 7. So by the time you're 7 years old is about 98% of your personality. And then we get into, you know, the third chapter, which is our teenage years from 13 to 20 to 13 to really 21 is that 7-year period.
Peer pressure.
Where peer pressure and all you're doing is you're literally learning from your environment.
Yeah.
So what environment are you in? And by the time you're like mid-20s, you're so deeply ingrained into your personality. It takes something crazy happening for you to actually want to change that. And I know with my coaching, and you probably see it too, it takes like hurt and pain for somebody to want to change instead of just saying, you know, this is probably not the best path for my life. I should probably change for the better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the hard part is you spend like, how old are you, 32, 33?
28.
28. Jeez, you're young. Oh, man. Okay. I thought you were more my age. I'm getting old. So by the time you're our age, like you're basically been writing your computer program for 28 years.
Right.
And you've been writing the same program for 28 years, and you expect it to change that patience thing in a couple months. And I have clients that I work with, I'm like, no, bro, it's not that easy.
No.
Like, you've been, like, especially with, like, something as simple as eating. You've been eating sugar for 30 years of your life. You can't just stop one day and say, I'm never going to eat it again. Like, it's really not that easy.
No, it's an addiction. Just like anything else, our habits are, you know, I don't know, I feel like they're addictive types of habits, but you have to change those. You have to create or replace them with good and positive things. And I think that's why I say all the time, I don't have an addictive personality, but I do. Like,
we all do.
Yeah, like the gym, like that just boom, like. Ugh.
Oh, it became an addiction.
Yeah.
Because I know this, if I pulled you out of the gym for a week.
Oh, I'm like,
your face.
my like, it hurts to not go to the gym.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we're all addicted to something. We just have to make sure it's a positive addiction.
Yeah.
And even like a positive addiction can be too much.
Sometimes.
Yeah, like I've literally worked out like 10 days in a row just because I was feeling really good. And Monday I'm in the gym in tears because I'm in pain.
Yeah.
Tuesday I already had a scheduled workout with my buddy on the North Shore. And I woke up this morning and like I'm just hurting from head to toe.
Your body will tell you like you need to take a break.
It's like, hey bro, time out.
That's how it was last year. You know, it started off like, oh my God, like I'm addicted to this. And I had someone, you know, that knew how to get in my head so good, I think, that, he knew that if I would have a week or two of rest in between one of my shows, that would like charge me right back up. But at the end of that prep, 6 shows later, it was like everything inside of my body was telling me, Jessica, you need to like slow down, you know? So yeah, it got to a point where my dad told me, you were sitting at the table one day and he said, I couldn't tell you this because I knew how hard you had worked. You would have been upset with me. But he said, like the circles on my eyes, like were just sunken into my face. And he said, you did not look healthy at that point. And so I would never, I say that I did 6 shows. I made it through, thank God, but I will never do that to myself again. No. And it is, some of those shows were learning experiences. They were not my best packages because they were so jammed together. And, it's learning experience. That's it.
So what drives you now? Like you're still going, you're still pushing hard, you're still staying motivated. What's driving you right now?
I have a niece and a nephew, and my nephew, for sure, he's 3. He watches everything. I teach him everything. We work out together. I buy him for holidays, workout clothes. He'll have like his fresh little Adidas get up with his shoes, hat, the whole thing. So I think that it's so important for the ones that are watching you to be a leader, be someone strong, and be someone that they can look at and have something to go by. They need something to go by. And so I don't have kids. I know whenever I do, like I said, they're probably not going to like me in the beginning, but in the end, I know that they'll thank me for being stern.
Right.
So, yeah. And to, like I said, I have little cousins and kids that I know that are watching, and I know that they need direction. So whenever they need.
Yeah, and I always love that question. And what's fun to see is watching the progression of someone's motivation go from internal to external.
Yeah.
So internal is a great initial motivation. It's always what's going to be that spark that ignites a fire. But if you want that fire to keep burning, it's got to be something bigger than you. That's the key to lasting motivation, is having something in your life that's bigger than just you.
Yeah.
Because we can only be narcissists for so long.
Yeah.
Before we crash and burn.
Yeah.
There's only so like much selfishness we can have, and that's eventually going to burn out. But once you know like someone else is depending on you, it becomes just like a driving force. For me, I have in my bathroom mirror, you have to so they can.
Yeah.
It's like I have to go do it to prove to them that they
you
can too.
Do it. Yes.
Right. Whether it's, people ask me like, Robby, why are you in the gym so much? I'm like, well, it's kind of part of my job.
Right.
And I can't tell my clients to be healthy if I'm not being healthy.
That's right.
And the whole reason I do everything in business is for my nonprofit, so I can give back to that. I can't spend time working in schools if I have a 9-to-5 job that I have to hold down every day. So I have to be successful in business. And I started out just like you for very selfish reasons. Breakup, not knowing myself,
some of it now still is for selfish.
Oh, it is.
Or, like revengeful type of reasons.
Are you still driven by insecurities?
No. I feel like I have truly, like in the last year, I have found majority of myself. I think every day that you're truly trying to find yourself, it's not insecurities that drive me. It's hurt. It's hurt. My coach, a lot of people know this, so I'll just go there. Last year, I was super close with, knew him for 10 years or better. And it's kind of, now it's something, we're not working together. I don't have any hate in my heart for him. It needed to happen this way because God knows that this is the way that Jessica operates, is off of hurt. And so I almost need to go through that so I can have something to fuel me to be a pro. I will go pro.
Oh, I know. I don't doubt that at all. That is definitely the next goal. So you would say that pain is your biggest motivator?
Yeah. Hurt. Yep.
I'm always, I'm going to be completely transparent here. I've always shut down under pain. Like, I've never let pain drive me. Like, when I get hurt, I guess it's like my like the way I just grew up with like my insecurities and me being an introvert. As soon as I would feel pain, I would want to go crawl back in my cave.
I'm opposite. I will never let you see me go down. You will not see me go backwards. I will make sure the next time that you see me, I am 10 more steps ahead. Yeah. And you can tell without me saying a word, like, she's doing good. I won't let it happen.
Yeah.
So wherever that'll take me, let's go.
I love it. So what's been the biggest lesson you've learned over the last 6 years?
To be myself, be true to myself. You know, there are so many things in this industry in particular, too, that are pushed on you, and use your imagination whichever way that you would like. In a few different directions. And I can honestly say I have stayed true to myself, and I'll continue to stay true to myself and what I believe.
I totally agree. We were talking before the camera. That's been the biggest lesson I've learned in myself with my journey is just to be authentic.
Yeah.
And don't have fear in your authenticity.
That's right.
Everyone does it. We spend most of our lives people pleasing to the point where we're just hurting ourselves in the process. And once I got to the point where I'm just like, oh, screw it, this is me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you don't like it. I'm sorry if I rub you the wrong way.
You don't even have to be sorry. Like,
No.
That's okay. That is okay.
And like, my sorry is like, I'm sorry you're projecting your insecurities on me now. That's not me anymore. That's you.
Right.
And like, when I hear, I don't think I've said this on camera yet. My buddy Jordan Duran came up to me about a week and a half ago, and we were just talking about some marketing. We were talking about everything that was going on, and he looked at me and goes, "Bro, you're the most hated nice person I've ever met in my life." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I hear so much crap about you." I'm like, "Jordan, from who?" And he started like pointing out circles. I'm like, "Jordan, I don't even know those people."
Right.
And he was getting more upset than I was, and he was actually getting upset that it wasn't bothering me.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, "Bro, how do you not get mad about this?" I'm like, "Because there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just being me. If they don't like it, I'm sorry. That's just them projecting their own insecurities.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to be me. And I can't do anything other than be me."
That's the best way to look at it, too. You're succeeding and you're happy. People
Right.
that are unhappy cannot stand to see someone smile. And for no reason. Like, I'm having a really good day. I was off today. I gave myself off today. Thank God I did. It worked out. Obviously, there was a purpose in it.
Yep.
Woke up, went to the gym, went and checked on my new opportunity at Salon Rishu and got my eyebrows threaded. Now I'm here.
Good day.
Great.
Yeah, I think, like, honestly, that's kind of the purpose of the journey here on Earth, is to find yourself, like, learn your own medicine of how to help yourself so that you can help others.
Yeah.
I really believe, like, learn your medicine so you can apply that to others.
Yeah. And
you have to go through the process of learning your own medicine first. Like, that's just part of the journey. And part of learning your own medicine is learning who you are. I wish more people would go through that self-awareness journey.
Yeah.
Because you and I both know you can ask the next 10 people in the street, like, "Hey, who are you?" And they can't give you an answer. I almost get depressed when I ask, like, a potential client, like, "Hey, who are you?" And they're like, I do real estate," or I'm like, "No, that's what you do."
I am. Like, that is what my whole verse has been on. And it doesn't just define one thing. When you ask someone who they are, like, it should be a many things. Like,
Right.
I just am. I am.
I am everything and nothing simultaneously.
Yes.
I am who I need to be at any given moment.
Right.
That's it.
And not just a speck in the spectrum at the end of the day. Yeah.
I love that. So yeah, authenticity. I mean, it's near and dear to my heart just because it's one of the biggest things I've had to learn. So, and what's been cool is, like, guys, you can literally, like, tell once she found that, and once she, like, dropped the, like, fear of being herself.
Like, unzip.
Yeah. Everything about her changed. Like, she just started glowing.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about your brand.
Okay.
Alpha Athletics.
Alpha Athletics.
Where'd that come from?
Wrote it and wrote it and wrote it and wrote it and wrote it until it finally, like, boom. I had the picture in my head of what I wanted my brand to be. It was based off of Revelations 22:13. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. And I literally became that. I think this past year, like, to the point where I rehearsed it in my head over and over. I am the Alpha. I am the Alpha. You can be an Alpha too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to the point where I was walking on stage and the girls in front of me were going on stage, and I'm in my head saying, I am the Alpha. And I'm fixing to own this stage because I worked And I know this is where I need to be.
What does that mean to you, to be the alpha?
I am the alpha and the omega. It means that God is in me. And it just, whatever that it is that I set my mind to, if I want to go to Mars, I'm going to go to Mars. It might take me till I'm 80 years old to get to Mars, but I promise you, if it's in my head and I can think of it, I'm going to do it. And so that is what makes me an alpha in my head. And it's not just me. Like I said, this is just from a spiritual place. These are from the things that I read and study daily and I surround myself by. And it is because my cup is overflowing. My heart is so full. I'm so grateful and full of joy. That's what life should be. And
agreed. So what I get from that is like, the source of your power.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's unlimited.
That's right.
Like I often wondered that with my rabbit hole chasing brain is we have so much power already. Like literally with the ripple effect of decisions, you can change the world. And you've seen everything like man has been able to accomplish to this point.
Yeah.
Yet we know we're not even coming close to tapping into our true human potential.
Mm-mm.
And I often wonder, where does that lead? Like, what is the limits of human potential? And is there limits? I mean, we see people now. I was just talking to Robby D'Angelo at Neolife, a guy named Wim Hof, who just by controlling his breathing, he can change the temperature in his hands.
That's crazy.
Just by controlling his breathing, he can turn on his immune system to fight off disease. And they've actually put him in the clinical trials and did this literally under a microscope and watched him do this. So if we have that kind of power inside of us that's just waiting to be tapped into, what else can we do?
You can do anything.
Yeah. And when you mean anything, like literally, what does that even mean? Through the study of epigenetics, which is the expression of your genes and how you can actually change how your genes are expressed. So we know we do. We have the power to literally think our genes to express a different way. The only thing stopping us is our belief. And how strong is our belief? And I'm going to tell you something here. And I heard this the other day, and it hit me. So there's different levels of belief and faith. And faith is believing in the unseen, right?
Right.
Okay. So you believe in Christianity, like you believe in your faith. Like it's there, and you believe in it.
Yeah, I think that I know there is a history. And from what I study, it is not hard for me to believe that this world goes back 2,000 years. You know what I'm saying? There is something that happened in my heritage. This is in my blood, in my DNA, in your blood, in your DNA, that my father's 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 father goes back all the way. And that is what makes me royalty.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, in the end, we all are, for someone to think that this is it, I don't believe it. Like, I think that this is like a level to a video game in my own little life. And then there's going to be something after. And I will have worked to obtain my inheritance.
Right. So right now you have a very, very strong belief.
Yeah.
And I think the ultimate level of that is when you transcend from believing to knowing.
Yeah.
Like true knowing something. Like, right now you're sitting in Castnet Studio talking to me.
Yeah.
I think that's the ultimate level of belief, is where it's no longer belief in like faith in the unseen.
Right.
It's now like, I just know.
Believing is knowing, I believe that because I am taking every active step that I can to build my house, I believe that I will have a house in the end.
Right.
So that is where the faith comes in. Like, yes,
exactly.
It seems a little hard. Yes, you're tired. Yes, like, you just want to give up sometimes. But I know, if I know me and I want something, I'm going to get it.
Yeah. You don't know the exact timetable.
No. And so I stopped putting a time on it. People ask me, because they've heard me for 2 years saying I'm going to build a house. Well, how long do you think until you're going to build your house? I'm like, you know what? I just don't even want to put a timeline because I feel like I get laughed at every time that I do. So I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah.
But,
and here's my thing. So you want to build this house?
yeah.
how do you decipher between that being an earthly want versus true purpose?
That's a good question. I think I've prayed about it, and maybe it's not meant to be. And I've thought about this too, because, am I trying to force something that isn't supposed to be happening? Maybe there's something better. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. By doing these competitions or who you meet in an everyday life, what connection that is going to take me to the next place. Like, who says that I'll be here? But I mean, for right now, it doesn't seem like an unobtainable goal. It just seems like, it's going to come. So if it's not meant to be, I'll know. I think that I have gotten to know myself so well from the inside out that, whenever an opportunity comes, okay, like, wait a second, you need to stop and you need to think about this. Like, is this a direction that you feel like you need to be, like, led?
Right.
So
what are some of the things you've done to really increase your self-awareness?
To increase my self-awareness, investing time into myself.
Which means, like, what were you doing to do that?
Well, first of all, I think that you have to feed your spirit.
Yeah.
I read my Bible, study my Bible. And then two, I make time to go to the gym. And the endorphins that releases for me, as tired as I am sometimes on my most tired days, and I'm like, man, I really just don't feel like going, I still go. And those are always like the best days. Mm-hmm. I come out like drenched and I'm like, man, I just killed it. Yeah. And I feel good. And so then when you feel good, you exude that. And so that is what people see. The next day I go to work and I'm like, yeah, I feel great. And then people are like, man, you look good. Your energy. Mm-hmm. And so then when you start getting compliments back, that does something that's like another release of endorphins, you know? And so it just is a domino effect. It's a trickle effect.
Yeah. So you're in a constant state of feeding yourself.
Right.
But what have you done to truly like learn you? And what I mean by that is like for myself, I know when I make a decision and certain thoughts and feelings pop up, mm-hmm. like where they come from,
right?
And why certain things trigger me. What are some of the ways you've gone about learning that about yourself?
Well, I think putting myself in situations that I allowed certain things, bad relationships or, just to create room for bad energy. Mm-hmm. So I've stopped putting myself in situations that if it doesn't make me feel good, then I get away from it.
Right.
And that doesn't matter. Like if I'm in just public somewhere and somebody's cussing and like just nasty, like I don't want to be around it. Take yourself away from that. And whether that's a group of friends that you're hanging out with or I don't know, different family members even. Sometimes, if it's poisonous to your spirit, get away.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it really is. Like, it's a very hard yet simple equation.
It is. It really
is this adding to my life or taking away from my life? I literally had that conversation with someone this morning. She was asking me advice on a relationship she's in. And I'm, like, coaching her through it. And I was like, look, is this adding value to your life or is it taking away?
Yeah.
And she said, well, he's met my kid. I'm like, time out. Your kid receives your energy.
Right.
So, once again, is he adding value to your life or is he taking it away? He's like, taking it away. I'm like, there's your answer.
That's
Do
right.
not stop there. Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah. You pinpoint what it is that's making you feel uneasy. And I kind of just went through that, And you have to sit yourself down sometimes in the quiet and talk to yourself. You might sound crazy, but you have to talk yourself through it and literally pinpoint what it is that makes you not feel good. Where is that anxiety coming from? And once you can find that, there's going to be one of two directions to go.
See, and you said something right there that I love that I have a hard time getting people to do is you sat in that feeling.
Yeah.
You sat in that emotion and just said, okay, where's this coming from? What started this? What can I do about this? And so many people are scared to do that.
Right.
Because it doesn't feel good.
Well, and that's what our brains are like wired to take the same paths. And so that's the same bad patterns that you kind of create for yourself. But you can create a new path. There is another alternative.
Neuroplasticity,
and so
yes.
As soon as you decide, I went through this like literally weeks ago and I was like, I don't feel good. This is what's making me not feel good. I'm going to change my routine. Woke up the next morning and went to the gym. Normally I go in the evenings, and boom, opportunity.
Yeah.
Fell like in my lap. Okay. So guess what? It's a new opportunity. It is like, it's just the way that life works. You have to listen to, he will talk to you. Like if you listen, he'll talk to you and you follow that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so many people, like, that's one of my biggest problems with this whole like positivity movement in America right now.
Yeah.
Is everybody wants to stay so positive, so focused on all the great things in life, they never spend any time in the negative to learn from it.
There's bad days. Like it's not, most of the time I think a few people realized it because there was a night that I just like left the gym. I didn't say bye to anyone. Like I knew that I needed to go be by myself.
Yeah.
And that was like not a normal day for me. And there were a few people that reached out and were like, yeah, you all right? Like, yeah, I'm good. I just knew that I need to go. And then boom, the next day I was good. Like you just give yourself a minute. I don't like sit and fester in that, but then you figure out where you need to go.
Right. You don't stay stuck in it, but you use it as a learning opportunity.
Identify. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have those days too. My first like 2/3 of my life, I was completely like emotionless, and I just, as soon as I had an emotion, I just compartmentalized it and blocked it and put it in its little box. But like now that I'm living more this authentic life and letting my emotions flow good and bad, I'm having to experience them. Like, yes, oh my goodness, the emotions on the positive side feel so much better now.
Yeah.
But now that I'm actually experiencing the negative emotions, I'm like, okay, I don't really like these suckers too much.
Right.
I have to learn from these so I don't experience them as often.
Yeah.
But I'm using them to learn. Even the positive and negative emotions are there to teach you.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't want to feel the negative emotions, so learn what's causing them so you don't do them again. And then also learn what causes the positive emotions and try to do more of that.
Yes. And I think, too, that's probably why I am so... Todd Trenchard, actually, I met him the other day. He helped with... he's with the Baco McCarty Foundation, helped with our fundraiser.
He's got an incredible story.
Oh my gosh. He told it to me again the other day, and I'm like crying. Yeah. I think that's why I am so much more emotional now, is because his story is amazing. His life he is saved, and he could have died, and his story goes on, but I used the same thing. Like I used to kind of compartmentalize my emotions because I went through so much hurt. Like it just is like, I'm tough.
Right.
I'm tough. I'm strong. Whatever. Yeah. But I think now that I'm like, okay, yeah, you're strong. But I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't take much now. And I'm like, oh, crying. But
I never used to, but now I can literally watch a movie and I'm like crying. I'll be in the freaking movie theater. A man's not supposed to cry in the movie theater. I'm like, yep, there it comes.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of watching what's that new Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper movie?
Stars Born.
Stars Born.
I haven't seen it.
I made the mistake of watching that one. I had no clue about the backstory. I'm just like, oh, it's Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga. Like, it's getting a lot of good reviews. I'm going to watch this. Oh, man.
She
wrecked me.
I saw her on the red carpet, and listening to her talk, she is, like, so grounded as like a person, and what she really he had to like make her aware in the moment of making that movie, and it really, you could tell, like touched her in some crazy way. I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna go watch it.
Yeah, you need to. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're approaching that magical hour mark. Okay. So after someone they become more authentic and they're accepting their authenticity, what's another piece of advice you would give the people out there?
After you have taken the time to invest into yourself and dig deep, and you just need to honestly be still, be quiet sometimes, and you need to follow those little opportunities, those nudges, whatever it is. Sometimes it's like a voice in your head and you don't really think much of it, or I've gotten to where I have friends that like I think of, and it's like, if you're thinking of them, text that person, tell them, I'm thinking of you. It's as simple as that. When you hear those little things, follow them. Like, it'll take you to something greater.
I agree. So that was my 2018. That was like the commitment I made to myself, was stop saying no so much.
Yeah.
Because I would hear those little voices, and I would get a nudge to go do something. I'm like, no, I'm good. My entire life, I always like hid from that kind of stuff. But in 2018, I'm like, all right, it's leading me this way. Let me go this way. Yes. All right, now it's telling me to go this way. Let me go this way. And I just stopped saying no. And it's amazing what happens when you start saying yes. Now, Granted, you do have to make sure it's in the positive energy sector.
Right.
It's
You
not
need
in
to
the
know
negative
when
energy.
you can say no too,
Yeah.
like in different directions. But yes, you follow that.
Mm-hmm. And it's pretty magical once that starts happening.
That's God.
Yeah. Okay. Before I ask my final question, tell people out there, for anybody who doesn't already follow you, where they can follow your journey.
You can follow my journey. Instagram, I'm probably most active on at Jess Hebert. That's Hebert. And then Facebook is Jessica Hebert. And that's all I've got for handles right now. So
Yeah. Go check out our clothing brand.
Oh, Alpha Athletics. If you
Yeah.
click on my Instagram, in my bio, I have my Alpha page, and you can follow my branding as well.
Absolutely. All right. Last question. What is your definition of happiness?
Happiness? Oh gosh. I don't know. What is the definition of happiness? Is there a true definition? You literally have to just do what it is that makes yourself feel good. If it doesn't feel good, take yourself out of it. Put yourself in a situation where it makes you feel good. If you like being around certain people or your family or whatever makes you happy, surround yourself with that, and the rest is cake.
Follow the positive energy.
Yeah, just follow the light.
I love it. I love it. So, Jess, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah,
I want to once again acknowledge you for just who you are. How you freaking show up into the world is amazing. Watching this journey you've been on. Guys, go follow her journey. She's always being inspirational and motivational. But just watching how she shows up literally every day I see her it's just magic, guys. That's the only way to really describe it. She has this overflowing energy that you can watch, like watch her go around the gym and watch it happen to like every person she talks to.
Yeah.
Which is fun to watch. Like as a people watcher like I am, I watch this happen, and it's just awesome to watch, guys. So go follow her journey, get some inspiration. That's going to wrap up today's show, guys. I really appreciate it. If you're still listening, love you. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, check out the swag on the store, RobbyD'Angelo.com. Click shop for all your Biohack Life gear. You can also join our online community if you clicked on Biohack Life Tribe. And as always, if you want to support the podcast, please, guys, support Rise Up Health Initiative. That is where we are promoting mental health in the schools. It is a huge opportunity. We talked about it today to really make a difference in the future of the youth. So love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And in the meantime, go love, serve, and change the world. Bye, guys.